Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast, formerly of The Ticket, currently the music director of the Texas Rangers, is Grubes. What's up, man?
Hello. It's good to be with you, man. This is awesome.
Sweet, dude. I appreciate you coming on for sure. So, okay, I want to just jump right into music director of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Man, it's all kind of intertwined with everything else that I've done over the last coming up on 20 years. Started at the Ticket as Norm Hitzkes' intern back in June of 2002 as a 16-year-old intern. And
16.
Yeah, you can't really do that anymore. Things have changed a little bit. But got my start there. Started becoming a board operator. Got to be pretty decent at that. You know, working for at the time Bob and Dan Bad Radio, and then the Hard Line. You know, so the noon to 3 and 3 to 7 shows, and playing drops and all that. And from there, you know, after I left the Ticket, was able to get a job with the Stars as their music director, playing music at the games, and also got to do music for the Mavs for a year and fill in occasionally after that, and then became part of the Rough Riders for a little while up in Frisco. And so, you know, all that combined with the main thing is, you know, when I was at the Ticket, I got to meet Chuck Morgan, who is like the executive VP of like everything. I don't know his official title. It's so many things. But during games up until the 2020 season, he was he still is the PA announcer. Okay. But he was also handling the mixing board and playing the music at the games.
Oh wow, he was doing all that.
Yeah. And so, you know, he's been doing that he's been with the Rangers since 1983. Somewhere along the way, you know, when the Ticket first got started, he became a listener. And then at some point when I started working there, we got to meet a couple times. And I think when around the time I got the Stars job, Chuck kind of made a mental note, I think, like, okay, I think this guy's got some ability. Like, he knew that I was a Rangers fan. Baseball's my favorite sport. Born and raised in Dallas, you know, I'm a Rangers fan. And so at some point, I think it was actually during my first season with the Stars back in 2013, Chuck got in touch with me about seeing if I wanted to run videos and stuff during Rangers games, and it would involve like editing and some other stuff that I didn't have the skills for. Still don't, need to work on that. But you know, Chuck said, well, you know, I've kind of got to find someone with a little more experience there, but let's maybe come to a gentleman's agreement that, you know, at some point I'm going to want to give up the music and the mixing board and just do the PA during the games, because he still works every day at the ballpark. He's in at 9 a.m. And so it's kind of like, okay, it's a lot to do. And so, you know, the move to the new ballpark kind of really opened up like, okay, we're probably going to have some better technology and, you know, it's going to be a little more advanced. Like, it would be a lot for Chuck to try to do all of that at the new place. And they actually wound up splitting it to where I'm just doing the music and someone else, this guy Eddie, is the guy running the mixing board. So, you know, able to split off two jobs that, you know, are worth doing for an entire season and all that. So I think that's kind of the nutshell of how it all happened.
Okay, a couple things. I have a lot to touch on of what you just said.
Yeah,
so,
no,
all right.
There's a lot of info there.
Well, okay, how does a 16-year-old get at the Ticket? How did that come about?
So it's one of those kind of luck and all that. My baseball coach, one of my baseball coaches at Jesuit, I went to Jesuit for high school, was a sales guy at the Ticket. Okay. And I'd become a P1, you know, Ticket listener for a few years before that. I started probably listening at 13 or 14, which my mind's pretty warped. So I when I got cut from the baseball team in my junior year, that's when I kind of realized, I kind of knew anyway, but kind of realized, okay, maybe I'm not going to become the next Pudge Rodriguez for the Rangers. So I started thinking, well, I kind of need to figure out something, or at least start working, kind of, see what else is out there.
Okay.
And, being such a fan of the ticket, such a P1, I just kind of asked my buddy, his name's Danny Lowry, like, hey, is there a way to do something up there? I didn't know what, and I didn't even fully understand the concept of an internship at the time. But a couple weeks later, he emailed me saying, hey, you're going to be Norm Hitzkes' intern for the summer. Show up at 8:30 a.m. on June 3rd, 2002. He didn't say the 2002, but on June 3rd, and, kind of see what happens. And so I don't totally know how Norm's side of things kind of worked, where, I think he's just always kind of looking for people that are hopefully talented and mostly hardworking, and at that time I wasn't nearly as lazy as I am now. So he took a shot. He took a chance, and, thankfully at the end of that summer he said, I'm welcome to come back, because again, this is all very unofficial. Like,
you're just
I'm not getting
doing
college
stuff.
credit or anything. I haven't even started senior year of high school, and so it just kind of went from there, and basically showed up every day that I could. If I didn't have class, if school was out for the day, then went up there to hang out with Norm and the guys, and basically just made a nuisance of myself, but thankfully wasn't annoying enough for them to just totally kick me out.
Yeah, for sure. So you grew up in Dallas. You've been here all your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're a big sports fan. What's your favorite DFW team, sports team? Like year,
Ooh.
of all time. So
it's probably got to be the 2011 Rangers.
2011 Rangers?
Yeah.
Rangers? Why 2011 as opposed to 2010 Rangers?
Just something about that, I think, because we've kind of had the experience of the 2010 World Series run, and it was awesome, and I had a blast, but just something about that 2011 year, like, it felt special from the start pretty much. And just something about, like, I was living with my friend, and he's still at the ticket, Sean Bass. He's the morning ticker anchor. And, we were roommates at the time. He's a big baseball fan. And, so, he's getting home from doing the Rangers post-game show on the ticket. And then we're staying up for another couple hours talking about the Rangers game ourselves, just hanging out, having a beer. And just everything about that 2011 run up until the very, very end.
Yeah.
Just, it solidified, like, I loved baseball for years before that, but you kind of realize, okay, this is why we are fans of the sport.
Yeah.
And it probably did help, like I think you kind of thought I was going to say, that Mavs title run, a few months before that, because it's like, oh my God, like we're a winner's
sports,
town.
yeah,
like this,
we are the best sports
it's got to
city.
happen. We're in the World Series in 2010, then the Mavs won, so it's like, we get to the World Series again, how could we lose? And we found a way.
Yeah.
But
where did you watch Game 6 at? Do you remember where you were at?
Yeah, I think this might have also factored into why I had such a good time during that playoff run, is pretty much from the start of the Rangers playoff run, I was watching just about every game. If I wasn't at the actual game at the ballpark, I was at this place that's been gone for a while, Pokes in Addison. They were paying me like $175 to like essentially host a watching party, and like tweet about it and all that. And I was getting like free food and beer and watching Rangers baseball, and just, it felt pretty perfect at the time.
Yeah. Well, that 2011 team was, because if I remember correctly, 2010 just came out of nowhere. Wasn't the projection? It was supposed to be that they were like a year away. Everyone
that
was
kind of that seemed to be the thought. Yeah, like they definitely had something that they were building towards. But like, that 2009 team was
okay.
Yeah, it's got the offense, but the pitching hadn't quite gotten there, and there were still some weak spots, and So, that's I think also where 2010, it kind of just felt like, whoa, we're just happy to be here. Like, we didn't expect this. 2011, we expected it.
Yeah, they
and
dominated.
they got there. Yeah, like being a sports dork and getting ready for the Rangers season, I've been watching different clips, of Rangers games on YouTube and, watching the ALCS and all that. It's just like, what a just crazy lineup they had.
I know, unreal lineup, right? I mean, there was no really holes in it at all.
Kinsler, Elvis, Michael Young, Josh Hamilton, Beltray, Cruz, Napoli, Murphy, Moreland.
Yeah, there wasn't
it's
a person
insane.
that couldn't hit.
Yeah, you can't just be like, oh, I got a break for this batter. I can kind of assess everything, take a break. No, like
righties and lefties, everyone, everyone can hit.
Any one of them could kill you. So, yeah, it was just such a fun season that I think that's got to be my favorite.
I'm thinking we're around what year did you graduate high school?
2003.
Okay, I graduated 04, so we're basically the same age. What's your favorite team from when we were kids? Local team.
Again, I'm a baseball fan, so probably the 96
The 96 Rangers?
Because that's the first one.
First playoff.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you're at when they clinched for the first time?
I do. I was at, I guess it would have been 6th grade, whatever the dance was, that,
like the
late
Valentine's-
September. Yeah. Whatever the... God, what are
fall dance or something like that. Yeah, some random thing.
And I remember like me and all my buddies who were also really big baseball fans, like one of them brought like one of those little like TVs,
little tiny TV.
Yeah, the tiny screen, you have like antenna that's like 5 feet long and
plugs into the wall
yeah,
or
we were
something.
like all, it's 6th grade. You're like right on that verge of like getting into girls, but not quite
Don't
there.
know how to talk
where
to them.
It's like, the Rangers are about to clinch the spot in the playoffs.
First time ever.
You can wait a second, Claire. So
we will dance to Casey and JoJo later.
Yes. Oh my God, that's a memory. Yeah. All my life. Yeah. I clearly remember where I was for that.
I was at the game.
Nice.
Because they played the Mariners.
Yeah, they lost.
And it went to like extra innings. Yeah. And the reason why they were playing, they were playing the Mariners, right? Or
I think we were playing
California. We were playing the Angels. And the Mariners were playing
and they
in
lost.
Oakland or whatever.
Yeah.
And they lost. And their game, which started 2 hours after ours, ended before ours. And we lost it. My dad and I don't know where my mom and sister were, but they were out of town or something. So my dad was like, let's go to the ballpark. We didn't have tickets. It was sold out. And you remember they used to have the Fridays, the TGI Fridays there? So we just went there and hung out. And then about the 8th or 9th inning, we just like walked out and found seats. Because at that point, it was so late. People were leaving.
Yeah, people have to get home at some point. For some
that place went nuts when they showed that the Mariners had lost. That was a big moment.
It was.
And then just got hammered in the playoffs.
Yeah, like
won game one, right? If I remember correctly, Juan Gonzalez had like 2 home runs.
Yeah, and then that one, then 98-99, the Yankees swept us out.
Yeah.
So even the first one was a gentleman's sweep, as they call it. Like, we got to win the first one, but then nothing till 2010.
So you played a lot of sports growing up or just baseball?
Mostly baseball, like played soccer, a little bit of basketball, but like I've always been short. So that didn't help, and not quite athletic enough to be, a shortstop, but I figured out, hey, short and stocky you can be a catcher.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to do that. So
no, not at all. No one's in that heat.
And I did love Pudge, even before I got into playing catcher, but that definitely helped. And, was never great, never made varsity or anything, but always loved the game. And, even when I did get cut, the team did still kind of keep me around for my junior and senior years as like the manager, which basically just helped pick up equipment and just keep score and all that. But like they wanted me involved. They knew that, I loved the game and, could help at least a little bit strategy wise. Like that was probably pushing it, but I at least, got along with everybody and all that, where again, I wasn't unwelcome. That seems to be my thing. Is like
Yeah.
I find a way to
I
just
like
kind of
him a
stick
little bit,
around,
yeah.
but again, like not being annoying enough to where they're like, dude, go away.
Yeah, you just kind of blend in, right?
I guess.
'Cause how long
Because
were-
no one can see.
Yeah, no one can see you. There's
Yeah.
like, is he still on the team?
It's like,
I
oh,
don't
he's
really-
still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just forgot to look down.
It's like that. What's the guy from Office Space? Like, they fire him, but he just keeps coming
Yeah,
to work.
just Milton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Milton. Like he's just hanging out.
Just
Yeah.
me and my red stapler.
Yeah, just doing drops, right?
Yeah.
You know, just hanging out,
Just doing what I
drops.
can.
Yeah. When did you? Okay, so you were at the ticket for how long were you at the ticket?
Left in 2012, actually, on this day, April 6th.
Oh, really?
10 years ago. So, been gone there for 10 years now, but was there for just under 10 years.
So you have a big music background, right? Obviously, you're a music
Kind of.
director, and then you're in a band, correct? And you just and
Yeah.
you and my producer Travis nerded out for like 17 minutes before we started recording about a guitar shop. So
We did.
yeah. So you play the guitar?
I try to. I would
Try
never claim
to?
to be good, but I've got good band members around me. I'm in a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band.
Okay.
So thankfully, bass player and everybody else are really good.
What's the name of the cover band?
Pepper Theft.
Pepper Theft. And
Yeah.
where all do y'all gig at? Where do y'all perform at?
It's been a couple years, just obviously
'Cause
with
of
everything.
pandemic,
Home base tended to be Barley House. That's where things kind of really kicked off. We started in 2007. So that's tended to be our main, we kind of know that we can get a crowd there, and Chili Peppers music tends to work pretty well with pretty much any age group, but especially frat and
Frat.
sorority
Yeah.
people. So it tends to be a good combination. But played kind of all over Fort Worth, Grapevine, just kind of wherever they'll have us.
Are you the singer too?
God, no.
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 Okay. So-
No, someone else handles that, and so I play lead guitar, but again, thankfully in a Chili Peppers cover band, bass gets to
Shine a little bit.
and he calls himself lead bass, after the Spinal Tap joke, but
So okay, have you heard the newer?
Yes.
Have you heard the one where they sound like pirates?
yes. And
What's your-
for the record, I've listened to the whole new album. He doesn't sing like a pirate on any of the other songs.
No, yeah, what's going on with that? Do you have any idea?
Yeah,
Do you have any
like I
insight?
saw some sort of interview he did where he basically said that something about that chord progression, the sound of it, just made him think of like Welsh, Celtic, sea shanty.
So it's on
like-
purpose.
it's on,
it's
like
not,
it's intentional.
It's not just like, oh
Where-
crap,
yeah,
let's
like
go with
he
this.
specifically named an artist. I can't remember their name, but he's like, that's who I was like trying to emulate or whatever. And the Chili Peppers are that weird kind of band where they're like, they put out another song. There's another song out there called "These Are the Ways," which they kind of said at first they wanted to sound like Sparks. If you've heard of them, that's fine. Like
Okay.
they're they've been around, but they're not popular. But then all of a sudden they're like, but it kind of became it sounded like a Who song, and you're just like, where are they getting that?
Yeah.
So they're my favorite band, but I fully acknowledge they are weird, and thankfully, like they know that they're weird. Like they're
not trying to.
they're
They're not trying to play it
contradictions.
off.
Yeah, they say like, hey, we can be really smart and tender in a song, and then talking about the things they talk about, that go through Kiedis's mind. So they're just kind of all over the place, and I think that maybe is part of why I kind of like them, because the singer Anthony Kiedis is kind of limited vocally in terms of actually being a singer, but I'm an instrumental, guitar riff type of person, and I love John Frusciante, their guitarist, and then obviously Flea and Chad the drummer. Like it's all just a really fun combination, and they don't try to sound the same every record or anything
Take
like
themselves
that.
too serious.
No,
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah,
they sing like a pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the name of that song?
Black Summer.
Black Summer. All right. If listeners, if you haven't heard it, you need to listen to Black Summer by the Red Hot. They go full pirate.
Yeah,
like
and
it's like just full pirate. In it.
It was definitely a interesting choice to make that the lead single, because and I'm such a Chili Peppers nerd. Like I'm subscribed to like the subreddit and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like someone leaked crappy audio quality version of Black Summer, and I'm like, what is? Are they serious? Like, they get John Frusciante back, the guy that basically helped them write all their hits after 10 years gone, 15 years maybe. Yeah, 15 years that he was gone, and that's what they come up with.
Yeah,
But now, like, I love it because I've listened to it a million times, and actually on like good quality headphones and on Spotify or whatever that's got pretty decent streaming quality. So it's like, okay, you can hear more of the dynamics, you can hear, but it's still kind of weird.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's like, it honestly sounds a little bit like the guy from Dodgeball, like the character from Dodgeball.
Steve the Pirate.
Yeah, Steve, like, it's like, what's
that's basically
happening?
what they got. And like, even in the music video, he's kind of
is he dressed like a pirate?
Like, he's got his shirt off
He's
for most
wearing
of it,
like
but
the
still,
Jerry
like,
Seinfeld pirate shirt.
Yeah,
from,
it's black, but it's essentially it's not quite a puffy shirt, but it's like a cousin of a puffy shirt.
Probably unbuttoned.
Yeah, like I said, like
he's got to show his abs.
Yeah, like his abs, you can see him within a minute of the video.
Yeah.
Like, it would be weird if he didn't. It doesn't matter that he's 60 next year.
Wow. Man, that's crazy that they're that old.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Does y'all's lead singer, does he go shirtless?
No.
He doesn't. Like,
yeah, like, he could probably pull it off, but probably better not to.
Better not to.
Yeah, and definitely not the rest of the band. We did it once, and people walked away. Like, it,
They didn't ask us to come back.
It'd been a long night.
Yeah.
And we thought that was a good idea, and we realized pretty quickly it wasn't.
Yeah, they're like, y'all can't come back.
Yeah. Like,
there's no encore.
Yeah, thankfully they invited us back at some point, but it was kind of implied, like, keep the shirts on.
Do you go to a lot of concerts? Are you big into music? Would you say you're bigger into music or you're bigger into sports? For as far as like going to live
I think still
events?
probably bigger into sports, and obviously the last couple of years kind of changed all of that. But before, I probably went to more sports than music, but I definitely listen to music a lot. Like, I'm just not always great about buying the ticket to go. Like, I've got ticket for Chili Peppers in August or September, but otherwise, like, don't have any concert tickets bought. But I go when I can, but it's also I'm cheap, and the nice thing is I can usually, because of the other places I've worked, Mavs and Stars and all that, I can usually finagle a ticket and kind of save some money there. So it's like, all right, I can go to a Stars game for free potentially, and or I could pay $100 for a concert. Like, it's definitely worth it once I go.
Yeah, but it's like the idea of spending the money up front.
But I'm cheap when I can be, except for like what we were talking about earlier with like DoorDash and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, spend my money there.
What's your opinion of the encore at concerts? I have a real they piss me off. They're like, just being honest. Like, it's just
we all know you're coming back.
Yeah, you're coming back. Like, I'm a comic, right? So like, I kind of want to like write a bit about that. Like, do like an encore in comedy.
You should
do it.
You should do 5 encores during your next set.
I want to do an encore really bad. Be like, hey guys, but if y'all want me to do more jokes, I'm just gonna go off right here and then come back. And I want to see if I can like play that off. I think it's so. We all know what's going to happen. It just is like, I'm gonna do this thing where I'm gonna go off stage. And if y'all cheer real loud, I might come back.
Right.
It's like, they've been cheering you for an hour. Like, that's how.
Yeah, like, how they feel about you.
Yeah, your ego is that small.
Like, from the band side, as a musician, like, I understand the concept. I think it's partly just to get a little break.
Yeah.
Because it does take a lot out of you. But it does also kind of feel like, all right, was that 5 minutes really necessary? And sometimes they stretch it. We're just like, okay, we know you're coming back, but now I'm starting to kind of see all the brake lights out in the parking lot. How much do I want to join that, or how much do I want to wait for y'all?
Yeah, I think the only concert that I've ever gone to, like a big concert that they didn't come back for an encore and everyone was like, what, was Garth Brooks. And I was like, that was
really?
Yeah, I think it was Garth Brooks. We saw him in Tulsa and Dallas in the same year.
Nice.
Don't ask.
I won't.
Like, we saw him twice, and I don't remember if it was Dallas or if it was Tulsa. He just didn't come back. And I was
Does he normally come back?
I don't know. I have no idea. That was the most baller move I've ever seen of it.
Interesting.
Like, everyone was like, you got Garth Brooks, Garth Brooks, whatever, and he just didn't come back. I'm pretty sure it was him. I'm like
Yeah.
95% sure it was.
Now I'm just curious. You know, we might have to look it up later, but like, you know, does he normally do encores or does he skip them? Or
yeah, I loved it.
You know,
'cause
maybe
I
he
think
skipped it that one because he had the poops or something.
maybe something.
You know,
Just
like,
he was like,
who knows?
I would have came
Yeah,
back.
like sorry guys.
He's in the toilet, like hearing they're saying my name,
Right.
like, you know, he's just like
that would have to be weird. You know, you can hear it bouncing off the walls and
it's like you're trying to finish quick,
Yeah.
but it's one that
but
takes a while.
It's not happening,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of stuck there, and you have to like
Your
pull
text,
out your phone.
You're like, I can't come back.
It's not happening,
yeah, not
guys.
tonight. Let him send him home.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so yeah, we're just for now going to assume that's why.
Yeah,
didn't
everyone
come out
knows.
to Encore
If
for that
y'all, if
concert.
you were at the Tulsa Garth Brooks concert in 2015 and you were upset that Garth never came back out, it's because he ate something bad that night.
Yeah,
you know,
it happens sometimes.
Yeah,
It
you
happens
gotta
to the
let it
best of
go.
us.
Yeah, he's a human, guys. Just because he's
Right.
your music hero doesn't mean that he
Yeah.
doesn't poop too.
$100 million doesn't buy a good digestive
No,
tract
that's
sometimes.
not at all. Okay, so name of the podcast is called Back in the Day, right? I focus on like different topics each season. And people tell me stories from like that topic. This season I'm focusing on like dating or like crazy stories from your past in dating. Do you remember your first date you ever went on?
I was going to say, I've kind of been trying to prepare for this, and I still don't have great stories.
That's
Like,
okay. We'll bring it out.
You know, I vaguely remember, like, I think going to see, like, a movie or something. It's probably, you know, I took a while to get dating. I'm still not good at it, but let's say freshman year maybe of high school, and, you know, parents had to drop us
yeah,
off
did you
or
do the one
whatever.
with mom? Did your parents pick the girl
Yeah,
up, or did
because
you meet her there?
My parents knew her parents, and so, you know, like we get dropped off, and it was like an afternoon movie. Like I don't think I ate because I was
So nervous.
and then it's just, you know, big soda and popcorn, and you know, like every rumble of my tummy and
Yeah.
whatever. I was just like, oh God, I hope she's not hearing it, and you know, just the whole time, like the palms are all sweaty. And,
Yeah, how much popcorn do I eat? Like,
right. How much is weird? Like,
Yeah.
like how much before it gets weird?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Do I share my bowl? Like,
Right.
what-
Like,
yeah,
you know, it's a big popcorn, just like it's a big soda. Like, you're not going to get the, you know,
a little small.
normal,
one. I don't think
yeah.
they sell small ones.
right. It's like in case she does want to share, then you look like a gentleman, and if not, you look like a pig.
You know what's funny is that the movie is everybody's first date, and that's not even a date. Like,
right. You're just kind of sitting there.
You're sitting next
like,
to each other,
I've
shoulder to
definitely
shoulder.
kind of had that thought too of like, okay, we're just going to sit in a dark room, not talking to each other for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to know each other better.
You wanna do
Let's
this
see if we
again?
make any progress. Like,
I mean, the movie
I had
was
a great
great.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first date was a movie. Did you go on any other dates with that girl again?
Probably not.
Probably not. You don't remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one has. I think every person so far this season that we've talked about the first date, I don't think anyone's got a second date after the first date.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a reason
Yeah,
for that.
'cause
It's-
everyone's awkward and
because
uncomfortable.
They're all going to movies.
Yeah,
and,
no one's
you know,
getting to know
nervous
each other.
and eating
like,
too much popcorn.
I can-
So it's like you're eating all this, but you're not really full. So it's like you're still hearing your tummy rumble, and you're just like, oh, like
Then you got the Sour Patch Kids on top
yeah,
of it.
like
and it's just
it's a whole thing.
no girls are like, I don't want to go out with
Right?
this guy
Yeah,
again.
this guy's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We all are.
Do you remember? Do you have any stories of like an awkward date or one?
Pretty
that
much
just
all of
went-
them.
All
Yeah, there's, you know, like, yeah, they're all pretty awkward. Like,
Pretty
you know,
awkward.
thankfully, like, generally I tend to either, you know, get set up by a friend or, you know, have some sort of connection. Plus, I'm famous, so,
yeah,
you know,
there's
there's the possibility that they kind of know who I am anyway. But I'm also kind of boring outside of the job that I do. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, they're like, is that it? You know, it's like, I'm polite and, you know, kind of, I'd like to think I'm nice and all that and reasonably funny, but it doesn't always translate to the date, you know, because you're just, you know, if you're not at a movie, you're maybe going to some dinner and, you know, I'm not exactly a dress up kind of guy. And so like the whole time I'm like feeling like I'm fidgeting with my shirt and just like, oh God, is my belly showing, and it's not good. So
so when you started getting you're on the radio for a while, then you're doing stuff with like the stars and stuff. Did that help you do you feel like people would like girls would try to date you because of that, or just you know what I mean?
Every now and then, like, again, partly just because, thankfully I think I have a decent reputation as a decent person and all that, where, they're willing to give me a chance that maybe a schlubby 5'4" guy might not always get. And, like, I'm still usually stay friends with them and all that, but, kind of realize for one reason or another it's not going to work. But, every now and then, get someone good, and, dated a girl for a year. And that was just from kind of meeting through mutual friends at a bar and stuff like that. But, it's just kind of been random and a little bit few and far between, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
hey, I hear you.
Just do what you can.
I dated my wife for a little while and just locked her up, Like
I know. I think that's my
know?
plan is
Yeah.
just find someone that's decent and then just go for it.
Hey, let's franchise tag.
Yeah. Not getting any younger.
No, and not at all.
Franchise tag.
So what's the next plan? So with the Rangers, walk me through like your day to day with the Rangers. Like, how do you get set up for a game? How do you prepare for all of that? Like, what do you do in the middle of the games and all of that?
Yeah, so, for the Rangers, like, the main thing, obviously, is the games. That's generally, like, for the Rangers, that's all I'm there for, is, like, I get in a few hours before a game, and let's say it's a 7 o'clock game. The Rangers batting practice starts at, like, 4:15, so I'll start running a playlist that I made at home and, run that till the gates open, and then switch to another playlist. And so the first couple hours, it's kind of like, I've done all the work at home, and like I've got everything set up where, I've got an iTunes account that, put together the playlist at home, and then it refreshes when I open up the computer at the ballpark, and, runs off of there. So first couple hours are kind of calm, and then kind of just, start getting closer to game time, and, there's a first pitch or, different reads that Chuck will do, and then I'll follow up with some music and stuff like that, and then kind of get into the game, and it's pretty much, keeping track of what walk-up music that, the Rangers or players are using, and so it's like, it's not super complicated. It's mostly just kind of being in the moment and being as prepared as possible for any situation, I brought in, like the Superman theme last year for, if one of the Rangers, like, makes a diving catch for a ball, stuff like that.
Yeah, like make it fun,
trying to think
interactive.
situationally, and it's like some stuff I might bring in and never use it, or it might take 3 years before it happens. Like that happens sometimes with the Stars, where, I'd bring something in that I would think was funny, and then all of a sudden, like, Shippy's the one that winds up playing it because I just didn't get a chance while I was there.
What did you do? Okay, you did something like that with the Stars, right? There was the music that you walk me through. It was like the Enya music, right?
Yeah.
So
so I can't take full credit for that. Me and the former director of game presentation at the time, Jason Danby, he was also the drummer in my band for a time.
Okay.
And one day after practice, we were just making small talk, and it was like during the off season, and he's all of a sudden like, what'd be funny is if for a goal review we played "Only Time" by Enya, and kind of laughed about it, and then I nearly just let it in there, just let it float off into the ether, and then I was like, I'm gonna make a note to myself to get that, and then we get to the regular season, and first call to Canada for a replay review. I play it, and all of a sudden it's like, people start taking out their phones, and the camera lights are going, and so it's just stupid stuff like that, and like that was, the fun thing with the Stars, and still happens with the Rangers too, where it's just, anyone can have an idea. Like I'm the lucky one that gets to execute it, and I have to be ready to do that, because I could have totally forgotten about
The
Enya,
Enya, yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, we get done with that review, and Danby's like, "Why didn't you play it?" Like, "Oh yeah, I thought you were kidding or whatever," and but because of social media, because of Twitter, because of like especially with the stars, like I was set up and Shippy's set up in the same spot, like right at the top of the first section where anybody can walk up and say hi, and so between that and social media and all the awesome coworkers and all that, there's all these ideas that people throw out. A lot of them don't work for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the
what's the, you don't have to say who gave it to you, but what's the worst idea that someone ever gave you to do that you were just like, that's definitely not happening?
There's so many.
Do people come up to you and just try to like people on the street, or just like random people like, "Hey, I got a little idea for you at the game. You should play X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, and like that's gonna happen. And some of it, like the idea makes sense, but just it can't work in practice, like in actually doing it for whatever reason. Just they're like, "Oh, it'd be funny if you did this while play was happening." It's like, well, you can't play anything during hockey when the game is going on. Just so sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's just this song has too much cussing in it that even if I did reasonably clean it up, there would be no point in playing it. But that's the fun thing of like, it can still bounce off into another idea where it's like, well, that doesn't quite work, but I can see this working, or maybe I can work it in during a intermission if it's just a song idea.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I kind of subscribe to the theory that I heard it from Dan McDowell at the Ticket. I'm sure many have come up with it before and said it before, but like, for every 10 ideas that you have, one might make it on the air, or into the arena or whatever. And it's just kind of, in one way, we're all working from, me and Shippy and DJ EJ with the Cowboys. We're all working theoretically with the same batch of songs, but it's a matter of, how do you edit them? How do you, when do you play them? How do you, like, for what reason?
How long do you play them?
Yeah.
What part of the song do you play?
Like hockey, it's, when the whistle hits, you pretty much have to be ready with like the best part of the best 30 seconds of a song.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. With baseball, we got mostly we're playing music during inning breaks, and we'll play like the drum beat from We Will Rock You or something, but not playing full songs except for like snippets, stuff like that. And so it's trying to think, there's different ways of using the song and all that, and so it's fun kind of getting to do the jobs that I've done, because Welcome to the Jungle, it's like the most played song ever, but it can still work. But for the Rangers, might use it at the start of a game. For Stars, I might use it on coming out of our timeout with 15 seconds to go and get everybody riled up, and and that kind of extrapolates from there of like just all these different songs available, but how do you use them? Like for all three teams, I could have used the same song, but it's going to be edited differently. It's going to be moved around. It's going to be played for this reason instead of that. And so it's been kind of a fun mental exercise, with the Rangers, where, I'm very lucky where Chuck Morgan did it for 38 years. So it's like, we've got a pretty well-established thing, but we also have a new ballpark, and we have a DJ that's maybe a little more mischievous or more of a jackass than, Chuck, who's very respected. And Chuck's funny as hell, but, he's also classier. And, so I'm kind of seeing what can work, and, it can be something small. Like I said, the Superman on a diving catch. Like, it's nothing groundbreaking, but, trying to find like a new wrinkle and all that, and just kind of seeing what I can do with it.
Do the players, they 100% pick their walk-up music?
Generally, yeah. Like, I think the only player that I wound up getting a song for, and it didn't really need to, but I kind of also felt like it'd be fun to at least play it and see what would happen, is like John King, the reliever for the Rangers, Avenged Sevenfold has a song called Hail to the King, and it's really rocking and all that. And so I kind of edited it down like to the best 2 minutes of the song, and I played it the first time. Didn't get a reaction from him, which is, I was like, well, I'm going to play it the next time he comes in. Still hadn't requested another song, so until further notice, that's going to be the song that I play when he comes in. But generally, the rest of the players, will tell like a clubhouse guy, and then, they'll tell Chuck, and then Chuck will tell me, and, most time it's a pretty easy thing to work with where, they've got a system because of Chuck, thankfully, where it's like, Other Side by Red Hot Chili Peppers 15 seconds in. Like, they actually are specific on, or at least the batters are, especially because, for batters, we can only use 15 seconds of a walk-up track before we have to get out of it. Pitchers, we can play the entire song until the game gets going again. Yeah. So, that's kind of the system they got.
Does a guy so a guy gets called up, he's never made, it's his major league debut. They already have like a song ready to play for them?
Yeah, usually the clubhouse guys will try to ask, when they're not, just completely nervous about,
freaking out about their first time to play in the major leagues.
And sometimes, like I'll know what they were using in the minor leagues or, something like that. But most of the time, like I wait till I get official word from the player of what song they want to use. Even like with Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, until they kind of say what they actually want, I might wind up just going with no walk-up music. Like John King is kind of the exception just because I was like, well,
this would be kind of
I
cool.
love the song, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I might do that if there's, something else, like I think I did with Adolis Garcia. He didn't pick a walk-up song for like his first month or something when he was hitting the crap out of the ball. So I played for one of his at-bats like Flight of the Valkyries, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, kind of like impending, like, something along the lines of like what Chuck Morgan did with Juan Gonzalez, where we play the Star Wars Imperial Death March, and just kind of figured, okay, it's at least, a little inside joke between me and Chuck, and then, he'll eventually pick something.
Yeah.
And so, eventually it became like, I think it went with like Blinding Lights and By the Weekend and a couple other songs, but it's like, now that I've got that track, that Flight of the Valkyries, like I'll use it when he hits like a really hard single or a double or something like that, kind of celebrating his hit, just like, hey, I've still got it. I put in time to.
You don't have to say which player, but is there a song that you were like, what? What? Like, you're like, what? Like, why? Are you sure you want me to play this?
That's going to happen. And, I try to, be careful, just having too much of an opinion on any music except for Imagine Dragons, who I don't like. But otherwise, like, I'm pretty middle of the road with, because of my job with the Stars, I tended to find, some deeper cuts and stuff like that, because that's kind of what we were looking to do at the time. But, if it sounds decent over the speakers in the ballpark, I don't really care. Like every now and then you'll kind of think, well, maybe you could switch it up a little. Yeah. Like, you've been using the song for this whole season and you didn't really pick a very exciting part or something like that. But I'm also, it's not my job to tell them to pick something else or, that's not my place.
Who did Baby Shark? Who was it that was
Elvis?
Doing? Yeah. How long did he do that? Did he do it all season?
Long enough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was quite the full season, but it was close. And that was 18 or 19, I think. That
he must have just had kids or
that's what it was. He had the kid was maybe 1 or 2, and so and that was one thing I still go back and forth on whether I did the right thing or not. When Elvis came back with the A's last year, there was not a full-on discussion, but at least kind of a what if of on his first at bat as an A, coming back to the Rangers ballpark, should I play Baby Shark or one of his other walk-up songs? And it was like, he's still a visitor. It's it's a little weird. And so I think it would have been fine if I did do it, but it's also a precedent I wasn't ready to set either. Like, if someone had just fully, said, hey, we should do this would be cool, I would have done it, but it didn't feel right just on my own playing it.
Yeah.
And, I had a few people, few fans kind of wondering if I would and then asking why I didn't. And I was just like,
because
it didn't quite feel right.
Do you have to do that for everybody once they come back? Or how many years did they play here? Like how many?
Right.
years?
And, Elvis definitely would have been one of those guys that would deserve something like that if we did do that. But Chuck had never done that for a player to my knowledge. So it's like, if my guideline is generally if Chuck wouldn't do it, I'm at least going to think twice and maybe even 3 times on whether I should do it.
Yeah. What's the coolest song someone's asked you to play that you were like, heck yeah, I didn't expect that, but that's an awesome song?
Probably, Taylor Hearn. He's a DFW born and raised guy, and he uses Southside the Realist by Big Tuck.
Okay,
Dallas guy and all that. And so I had to actually outsource the editing of that song because, I'm not an actual DJ, so I needed a buddy with DJ equipment to go through and wiki all the cuss words out because I've got sound editing software. I can generally remove the vocals or reverse or something like that to edit and make it sound reasonable. But there was just so many words that I needed to I needed some help on that. But that got such a great response from people being like, dude, Taylor Hearn, Big Tuck, and so that's probably the coolest just for that reason.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be my pick.
That's your pick right there? Okay, and you don't have to say the worst song.
I'm not.
Because everyone was like, that's so-and-so's. Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, dude, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. What you got anything you want to plug? Where can people find you?
I've got a Twitter account.
Okay.
Tweet Grubes, Grubes. I'm somehow verified, but I also put on my profile, don't follow me, because they're not good tweets.
They're not good tweets?
But I'm friendly, but they're not good tweets.
They're not good tweets.
Yeah.
You're just there. You're just happy to be there.
I was going to say, hey, I'm just here. I'm just hanging around. I'm having fun.
On Twitter.
But, yeah, but don't follow me.
Yeah. Well, guys, make sure you maybe follow him. Don't follow him. You decide. Follow me on Instagram at Michael Pasvar. You can check out dates coming up on michaelpasvar.com. This episode, I'm not 100% sure when it comes out, so I'll just plug one show, June 25th, Tulsa Comedy Club. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, leave a comment. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.